and you go from there. Because this doesn't really look like much. I look like a retarded person, and if they think that's cool, then they can in fact become a retarded person again later on in life, if they can even remember, if they even look. I don't know. A lot of this YouTube is like stupid shit that I've heard from other people around me when I was a little kid. The bigger titties raps. A few other things. Something in Cambridge is one of the guys. Somehow I remembered it. What is it? Poop vlog rap. But that is about that. I wrote a lot of the music on it as someone I knew had a Neurosis shirt in high school. That's a lie all the time. I'm not sure if I heard that before. And a bunch of other stuff on this YouTube that's different. You can contact me about other recordings that I have. Most of the best stuff's already on the internet. It's been on other websites. I'll probably upload more of it, or almost all of it, to the Bandcamp. Probably 20 more tracks, the only worthwhile ones. And I don't know, that they could whistle at my house like that, trying to while I'm sleeping, like all the time, but that really needs to stop, because you're really making me like sick and ungrateful, which doesn't really work, because like I don't have a lot of responses when I'm grateful, and a lot of people are gonna lie about that, so that it would have to be that marijuana is legal in some places anyways, so they don't really have that option of, like they used to say that if that person has marijuana, that I should have to have marijuana or get to try it because I'm a painter or I'm grateful. That I definitely had like schizophrenia in different parts of my life before that I used drugs. Maybe if you want to start a band like the band I'm in and try to say anything to me about it, that I can't draw the same way. I can't really real life draw, but I can do other stuff, and I don't think that real life drawing is even the same thing as what my painting is. So that I think that there's like a big thing where I created that painting on psychedelic mushrooms, and I think that like that I can't recognize that there are people that aren't worthwhile, that don't have what they want and things like that, that gang stalking continues to set forth because of that. And people in other states, if people in other states have jobs which make like 10 times as much money as I do, literally 2 times, 3 times on average more money than I do, and that's just like a regular thing. They have that. Why I like don't, that I think that a lot of people that are gang stalking people don't know about my painting, and they're doing it to survey people. I'm not sure how long this will go on for or whatever. That there's just a big thing in this country right now where weed just got legalized in Colorado, Washington, and Oregon, where I'd like to go to Washington, but they just legalized weed there. That I've been there before weed was legalized. There's a big problem with that. People with jobs, people being gang stalked, what people deserve, what people think they deserve. That there's just really no way that I can use other medications, like the other things, knowing, like take a pill. Like some people like to take pills that can become a habitual part of their life. That it's something that bothers me, and especially knowing that what psychedelic mind state is and how it flows in currents. That that those drugs inhibit that on a lot of levels, that they have like positive sedating effects and stuff like that. But a lot of people have schizophrenia where psychedelic current does not work with their life, and people are trying to stop the psychedelic current that works in my life. That it's just really inappropriate, impossible to recognize. And like I said, there are weed legal in other places, so I can just like wait and see where this goes, keep recording myself sleeping, and wait for this horrible thing that has like really placed like a bad outlook on my life, and how I feel about things, how I feel about people, how I feel about lots of different groups of people. It's really placed a negative impact on my life, how people respond to things, how people do things. That I think that there are a lot of people who respond to things in ways that they need to, and in ways because of mental disorders, which gang stalking really, I don't think, is a thing which responds to people because of mental disorders. And then there's going to be a big thing what black birds are in this YouTube, and I don't think that that is, as they've been having my father gang stalk me as well. But my sister can actually live here like perfectly fine. I don't know if it's because she moved, if all sorts of reasons why I'm being gang stalked, if she must be lying if my father's gang stalking me because of her, because I really, I've had arguments with her, but nothing is really something that she couldn't have or couldn't have had therapists and stuff specify about, that I've never talked to her about anything like that. Anytime I've been in situations like that, she just like sits there like pouty, doesn't say anything that's like really how I'm affecting her circumstances or anything like that. She used to complain about. This is getting uploaded to the FBI. I don't think that she deserves any ill will or anything like that. I'll listen to the beeping noise in the house. Is that on camera? Are you driving me insane, making me paranoid, think that it's my father with other beeping noises? Or because I know that that he has some type of like respect issues with me or some shit like that. But it is in fact my property or whatever, logically, and with my mental state, that and I can't see him really being mad at me because I've done really nothing to offend anyone or anything like that. As they had waitresses at their restaurant and stuff talking about herpes when I was younger, and the way that I dealt with talking about it, worried about that she got it, thinking that she got it because of a police officer in my town who was in a grade on the internet, and posted on a message board. Where'd you go, bird, up there? Where did you go? That they were making a big joke about a bunch of people having herpes, that they were doing it for selective breeding issues and stuff like that. That my sister had braces, and it really bothered me and stuff like that. And I think that my parents even got threatened when I was a little kid to have people talk about herpes around me, to give me a mental disorder when I got older, when it was around the time when they would harass and tase my sister about stuff like that, which I've talked like outside, talking to myself on the lawn. One time I talked to my girlfriend about it, or my ex-girlfriend, who was why I worried about it, because I didn't want to address the issue to my sister. There was a clip where I talked about this on YouTube and deleted it and was crying about it, because I felt like if I told her about that, she could get herpes from some other person. Like, stay away from certain types of people. Then somebody else comes along, a police officer, someone comes, gives you herpes. Someone else comes, someone with a mental disorder comes, give you herpes. You got herpes because of me warning you about herpes. So, 2 different occasions I talked on my lawn about that. And I'm not sure why people were making such a big deal about herpes when I was a little kid. My parents had a bakery in Cambridge, the Harvard Donut Shop in Central Square near where the Middle East is, which got bought out by Starbucks. And there was a big thing with the waitress and herpes there, that person actually instant messaged me on the internet because of a message board that I was on in high school. And so I was like paranoid about that they did a lot of stuff when I was a little kid to put psychological shit in my head. And that I remembered later on without really knowing it was there, then remembered that I unconsciously remembered the shit, and it hurt me and affected me negatively in a lot of ways. And there's a big thing with that, where I feel like that you remember that type of stuff, and doing something like that to someone is like talking about certain things in certain ways and stuff. It's hard for a person to remember the exact thing. I've blogged about it all to the FBI or whatever to the internet. You upload stuff to the internet, you gotta assume that it's all being sent to the FBI. When it is, especially when the stuff on Yahoo, when Yahoo starts to target you and they start to target people over the phone, with like playing sounds in the background that they're doing in other ways, you kind of know what's going on. So you have to wonder about local jurisdictions and where stuff steps in and where they get tired of doing stuff, which with gang stalking, they definitely put people in different situations and stuff like that, which is something, as people talk about all the time, the Illuminati, which is something that I guess that I have to deal with at this point and things like that. And it's really bizarre, as that's really like a one-of-a-kind painting, like a one-of-a-kind music career that I have, a one-of-a-kind getting hit by a car, being gang stalked. Or it was a mistake on my behalf, but I've already described the circumstances where it happened on a day where I crossed the street every day, but it was the only day to get back to the other side. I crossed that street every day, but it was a day where I was habitually on a Friday walking back from the bank where I had to go cast my check, and I was going to these people's houses, and I think that they all have herpes and we're doing the giving people herpes gang thing, and I forgot that somebody told me that at the time, and I was using my tax dollars to get weed from them, and they were a part of that association. So I think that people gang stalked me and hit me with a car because of that, because it was like a really odd situation where a big truck in the first lane, when I was waiting to cross the street, stopped and let me go. I rushed across the street. People knew that I was wearing headphones at the time. Well, maybe they didn't, but I was wearing them all the time as a way to combat workplace mobbing, but which is defined on my internet as what it was, harassment, and potentially gang stalking. I had a lot of weird encounters with people there, whether they were police, people talking to me about things that no normal person would ever talk about. A woman would give me the end of blunts and tell me she smoked like ridiculous amounts of weed and stuff like that. It happened like once or twice. I think that I said that I even didn't want them, and it was just like a really bizarre negative thing and unhelpful thing to be going on. And there was just a lot of weird stuff, a lot of people coming up to me saying weird stuff, like them having girls approach me, whether or not it was on their own accord or on them being gang stalked, or them being gang stalked. It seemed as if the way that I was acting, that it was if I was being gang stalked. That the nature and the other people, a few other people giving me marijuana, harassing me about marijuana, and all sorts of shit like that. When it wasn't really something that I brought out into the open. People would talk about it around me, talk about it to me, to the point where you brush them off because you're an honest person, to say that you don't want to talk to them or whatever. And it just comes into a thing where it's so negative and unholy in a person's life. And also the other place where I was going and being gang stalked, one of the kids that worked there had a party where a bunch of the younger employees went, which I also think was like a gang stalking thing. That it was somebody which was affiliated with the House of People, but I'm not sure directly related to it, to the herpes-ridden people. I guess that's called having a bad rap. And as far as gang stalking goes, that's what I've heard anyways, and I forgot about it. And there was like a big thing with that where I think that I was targeted and injured because of playing noise music and not playing up to my potential. How they have the video of my first band and that song Jody on the Bandcamp from the 2003 robertleblanc.bandcamp.com. That a lot of people didn't know about that. They were targeting me. One of my neighbors was actually the manager, so they were definitely targeting me for playing noise music, which a part of my life which I felt like I had to go through. And I was doing a lot of improv stuff, not really going there, and I think that not really going anywhere rather than going there. So I'm going there as to post this on YouTube about how I feel about the current situation. Yes, I love God. Not really crying right now or anything, but I love God. What's up? Fucking Robert LeBlanc. They so I feel like, as you can see on my Bandcamp, that my career has been dramatically changed because of misfortunes and untimely bad circumstance events, which I have my painting around. I think I was carrying it around before I got hit by a car. I'm not sure if anybody noticed or whatever, and that it's just really bad and people are really negative and need to stay the fuck away from me, pretty much. And I try to be nice to everybody, and and people act weird and shit, so I can't acknowledge anything that's going on as far as shit like that and stuff like that. And that's about it. So that bird took off too. So definitely no to the me getting hit by a car thing. I'd like to start some of the other bands, have other people play guitar. That one on that MP3, the take where, see, that it should have been that I played a lot more music improv, and they have all these new punk and ska bands that they rehearse their songs, they use guitar tuners and stuff, and they ruined the current situation of that going on. That's what I can hear anyways. So, but there are so many other great new acts and new musicians and stuff like that, and I'm not sure that, and there could be musicians to come that that's why I think legalizing marijuana might be bad. I don't know, there's no one really around here, that it could be bad because psychedelic mushrooms take over people's minds, and all the new kids of the future that could have talents and stuff and want to try those stuff. And if the government's trying to keep that stuff from people, it's going to be a weird thing where people are going to learn different types of music, people are going to do different stuff and be helped by those things, dropping filters from their minds and stuff like that. Filters of their minds, I don't want to explain that too much. They come along with growing in life. A lot of people say that they don't need to drop those filters because they already had those filters dropped. That I definitely was hearing police officers in my amp in that first band one of the times, that I thought that it was like a police transmission that they used, like a receiving thing being put over my amplifier, but I actually found out that it was like an unconscious ear thing. So I think that my mind was open then, but I really wasn't. That I started playing guitar while high, and I started piecing out that other, definitely pieced that other song together under the influence of marijuana, which I was taking other stuff then too, and I think I played it on other stuff, but I'm not really sure. I don't really remember the song Jody, which I made in 2003. So I think that there's a big thing where you kind of need to keep that stuff around, but then at the same time, I'd like to just go to a store and buy weed. I don't really need any of that other stuff anymore. So I mean, I have a lot of issues with how the current situation is, and I think a lot of other people are gonna have a lot of issues with it too, where there's kind of a threat in this country as far as what's going on. So I mean, that vets lie all the time. I'm not sure what that is. That I went this long painting that painting and doing other stuff till I'm 31, till people really started to harass me again. That I think that I might have been being harassed because buying salvia on the internet in 2003 and having a car, but they sell that at shops and shit too. That maybe it's from whatever, from selling weed to people or shit like that while they're harassing me, but they could just arrest me for that, and they've been waking me up in my sleep for a long time. That I think it might be a thing that the police want to bring to the FBI or something, that I really don't know, but that's that thing. That God's stagnant too. God's not stagnant. So I think that there's really no reason to look at me or place emotions upon